Namo Nanda Lilaya Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Yeah, what's that? I've got cartels. Yeah, I can do that. You can do cartels then. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's put it there for now. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? I've done that. Page 34, 289. No, that's okay. I can see it. जय श्री श्री राधा गोकुल भगवान जी की, सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Okay. Okay. Yeah. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राम. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. जय गोपी वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 जय श्री श्री राधा गोकुल भगवान जी की सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की श्री श्री गौर निताय की जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की Okay, so thank you for coming and for our viewers online. So we are carrying on during this month of Kartik with our topics of the many pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa from the Kṛṣṇa book. So basically these are very interesting stories, not stories, but pastimes, leelas of Sri Krishna that happened while he was in Vrindavan. And the reason why we read these stories, especially during the month of Kartik, is that we can become more attached, more close to Krishna. We can understand who he was, what he does, what he looks like, his activities, what were his activities, what were his leelas. Because we all know that there's a few common that we know. He lived at Govardhan Hill and the killing of Kamsa. But in between that, there are so many more pastimes that he had and how he carried them out. It's so magnificent, so beautiful. when you listen to those, you become more attracted to Krishna. That's the whole idea of his pastimes, that when we listen to the pastimes of Krishna, it evokes something within our heart that we become so attracted to him. And once we become attracted to him, we want to know more about him. It's like when you want to know a person, when you know of a person, you know a name, but you want to know more about him. So how do you know more about him? By listening from others, the sort of things that he does. They'll tell you, oh, this person is like this, and this person, this is what he does, and this is what he does, and this is what he treats people like this, and then you can develop a clearer picture of that person. So in a very similar way, with these Krishna's Leelas in the Krishna book, all these pastimes, we get more attracted to him. And then once that attraction grows, it grows and grows within the heart, and then ultimately we want to do service for the Lord. And that seed of love that's within the heart will actually start sprouting, and you're thinking, you know what? There's more service that I can do for the Lord. I want to know more about him. I want to know where he lives, what he does, what he eats, how he dresses. So all that information comes to us, because once you start reading this book, it tells you all about him, the type of clothes he wears, the type of food he eats. And that slowly over time, that love will develop in our hearts. And then from that love in our hearts, we develop some devotional service. So we want to do things for Krishna. We think he's just not standing on the altar. He's there on the altar, but he's there also within our hearts. And then he knows what's right for us, what's wrong for us. He knows our desires, and he will try to fulfill those desires. As long as we have those desires to serve him with love and affection, he will reciprocate. It's just like a mother and child. That relationship is very strong. So in a similar with Krishna, we have that same relationship. So today we come to the point where Krishna and his friends, now they're going to do, so there are so much things are happening in Vrindavan, and so many things, pastimes are taking place. But now, like we're in the month of Kartik now, which is in October, November. So obviously, like we say at the temple, every month is a festival. So like we say, like Diwali is just gone, usually October, November time, right? And then in March you have Holi. About March, towards late March, early April, we have Holi, depending on the calendar that we have. And then in August, we have Janmashtami, where Lord Krishna performs the Ras Leela. So there are so many of these festivals spread out throughout the year. So during the month of February and March, there's a festival called Shivratri. So Nand Maharaj, they thought, why not? Let's go and see this festival. Let's go and, he had a desire. He goes, let's go and see this festival. Let us go and see what this festival is actually like, what goes on there. So, as being Vaishnavas, they don't normally celebrate Shivratri, but because we consider Lord Shiva as one of the Mahajans, he's a great Vaishnav. So, he's much higher than what we are. So, anyone who's much higher than we are must pay respects to them. And so, in that aspect, they thought, let's go and see Shivratri. And obviously, now in the olden days, things were very far away, and they had to go to Ambikavan, which is a forest. Just like Vrindavan is a forest, Ambikavan is another forest. But this forest is actually located, it says in the scriptures, it's located in Gujarat. So where exactly in Gujarat it is, it does specify, but obviously now over time things have changed. Apparently it's next to a river, next to on the edge of the river Saraswati. And obviously if you Google up that river, It might not be there now, but it was then many times ago, many years ago, it was there. So they went to see Shivratri. And what it is, it's a long journey for them when they went. So off they went. So you got Nand Maharaj with all the cowherd men, Krishna and Balaram walking along. And they're going through this forest. And now, obviously, it's said, like whenever you go to any religious place, the ideal way is that you spend at least 2 to 3 days there, then to absorb, to meditate on that place, to understand what the place is all about. Sometimes if you just go to a place and come back, you don't really have the essence of the atmosphere of the place or the dynamics of the place, what's actually going on there. It's literally your mind is somewhere else. You think, I have to go here and come back again. But any tirth-stan, any religious place, anything like this, at least spend 3 days. So they went, and obviously it's a long journey. They decided to take a rest on the edge of the forest. So you have the river, and on the river bank, then you have the forest. So as they do, they all took rest, and they're lying down, and they're thinking next morning we go and see this festival, Shivratri of Lord Shiva, which is supposed to be absolutely fantastic. So as night falls, everyone's asleep, and all of a sudden, out of the river comes a snake, a serpent. It's a very big serpent, and it goes for the first person it can see or it can find. So it finds Nand Maharaj. So you know what snakes are like. You know, you've probably seen on TV these big pythons and things. They can just swallow up a whole person, right? So this snake is very similar to that. There's this snake, opened its mouth, started to swallow Nand Maharaj. And immediately Nand Maharaj, they say, Krishna, Krishna, help me, help me. And as soon as he said that, all the cowherd men that were sleeping, they got up. They're thinking, what's happening? And they saw this huge snake. And obviously where they're sleeping, they got like campfires. Obviously they got these wooden sticks which are burning. So they come up. And now you can imagine, like if you've seen a python so long, say, I don't know, 20, 30 foot long, snake. And you've got these fire sticks in your hand and you're trying to beat it and beat it and beat it. But it was no use. Nothing could stop that snake. So they tried so hard. Then Krishna, when he heard his name, he says, Krishna, Krishna, help me, help me. And he's thinking, okay, don't worry. Then Krishna, don't forget, Krishna was only about 8 or 9 years old. About the same age as you, young man. How old are you? Yeah. 4 years old. Oh, even younger. So you can imagine Krishna, like, 8 or 9 years old. So he's only that high. So he gets up, he sees this snake, and he says, hey, snake, what are you doing? He touches, all Krishna does, he's completely armless. He's got nothing in his hands. He doesn't have anything. He sees a massive snake, goes up to a snake, and touches him with his foot. So he's touching him just with his foot on the snake, and the snake immediately transforms. He transforms into such a lovely, beautiful person. And then he goes, Krishna said, you're so effulgent, so beautiful, you're glowing with beauty. Who is it that forced you to accept this body of a snake? Why? And then Krishna says, who are you? How is it that you've got this snake, body of a snake, and you're doing these bad, terrible things? And the serpent replied, well, my name is Vidyadhara. And once I was a very opulent and beautiful person named Sudarshana. And wherever I used to go, in the old days, now we have airplanes that fly from point A to point B. But in those days, he was flying from place A to B in his own airplane. It's a bit like we have these celebrities, they have their own private airplanes. So he was a bit like this, had his own plane, going from point A to point B. He was so beautiful, so good looking. And sometimes, when a person is so beautiful, so good looking, he gets so puffed up and thinking, I am the one. Everyone else below me, no one is as beautiful as me, as good as me. And this is what he thought. He came across this, a sage. And the sage is very unattractive. His name was Angira Muni. And you know how sages are. They don't care for their body. They don't care for their looks. They're in a very much higher level of realization. They're concerned with something else. Looks and beauty are beyond them. They're not interested in that. And what he said was, like, when he looked at Angira Muni, he laughed at him, he joked at him, and he made some remarks about him, And then, what do sages do when you make fun or say things to a sage? The only thing that sages do, they will give you a curse. They will curse you that, you have said this to me, but later you will take the form of a snake. Okay, so he took the form of a snake, and he goes, but why? Why did you curse? He goes, because I was so puffed up. I was so much of my thinking of myself, me, myself, and I. And I didn't care for anything else. And so Krishna says, you know what? No matter who you are, what you are, you must always be aware of the people around you. And beauty is such a thing that in this world, this material world, beauty, we're all subject to 4 faults, right? Birth, old age, disease, and death. So nothing ever lasts so long. So why are you worried so much about your beauty? But because that Vidyadhara, he was one of the demigods. But obviously, when you come into this world, you're also taken up by the 3 modes of material nature. So you got anger, lust, and greed. So your mind automatically doesn't focus properly, doesn't function properly. So you always think, I'm the best person. Your arrogance, your ego, your puffiness, that comes to the forefront. And you forget your real identity. So once Krishna, Vidyadhara took his form, then he says, okay, so you've learned your lesson. And then Vidyadhara, then he says, with your permission, can I go back to my spiritual world? Then he went back to his spiritual world as a demigod like he was. So now all the cowherd men, boys, and Krishna were all there. So they saw this amazing feat of Krishna, and then they all went back to sleep again. The next day, they celebrated Shivratri festival, then decided to come back home to Vrindavan. And on the way, they were talking like, oh wow, this is amazing, Krishna. Such a small boy, he can do so many things. Like, we tried to beat up the snake with fire sticks and so many other things, and all he done was just touch his foot, and wow, the snake just vanished. It's incredible. They're speaking of all these glories about Krishna. And they're on the way to back to Vrindavan now. I mean, it's a long walk. Don't forget, from Gujarat to Vrindavan, it's a long walk. So they're making their way back. And, with these beautiful pastimes, as they're walking along, they're still coming into Vrindavan. And they're still talking about the glories of Krishna and the pastimes. And then the gopis were hearing about this Krishna. Okay, right. Oh, he killed a snake, did he? Oh, wow, incredible. So many of these wonderful pastimes happen. And then at one time, Krishna, on a full moon night of Holi, Krishna and Balaram went to the forest, along with the gopis. They all went together. So Krishna and Balaram were singing. Krishna was playing his music on his flute, and everyone was so, and all the gopis were so mesmerized by that. Wow, it's just that they went into a totally different world, a totally different dimension. And now, Krishna and Balaram, they didn't expose to anyone that Krishna actually didn't expose to anyone that he's a supreme personality of Godhead. He was just like a normal, 8-year-old child, just doing whatever all the children do, have fun, games, frolics, that's it. And then there was another demon. He was a snake. Again, he's thinking, how are these boys? Why are they all attracted to him? He goes, no, they shouldn't be attracted to him. His name was Shankaracharya. He goes, they should be attracted to me. I'm the most beautiful. I'm the most possessive. All those gopis who were there with Krishna, they should actually be coming with me. So what did he do? He lured them all. He goes, follow me this way. There's a better forest over there, and there's much more better trees and flowers, and so much better over there. Follow me. So they started following, but they didn't really want to follow him. And they shouted, Krishna, Krishna, Balaram, help us, save us. And now you can imagine two boys, 8-year-olds, they're saying, yeah, don't worry, we're coming after you. We're coming after you. So they picked up sticks in the hand. Now, you've got a demon in front of you, who's much bigger than, much older than you. And you've got two 8 or 9-year-old boys coming along with sticks in there thinking, yeah, you know what? Come on, let's have you on. Let's sort him out, So this is what they would like. So as soon as Shankaracharya saw, oh my God, actually, these boys are running after me. He started to run. He started to run as fast as he could. Now, his name was Shankaracharya. The thing is, he was a snake, a serpent. He had a shank on his forehead, which is a very big jewel, right? And so in all this happening, he's running so fast, he forgot about the gopis. And Krishna says, Balaram, you look after the gopis, I'll be back. And then Krishna chased after Shankaracharya. He chased after this demon, and he hit him, he beat him up, and he managed to take that jewel off his head. And then he came back and presented it to Lord Balaram. And he goes, this is the great, that demon, I've killed the demon. Now how does someone prove that he's killed someone? Taken something that's most possessive for them. So he's taken this jewel, which is like a conch shell, taken it and presented Balaram, look, I've killed the demon. Look, I've got his conch shell. So, and later on it's described that the demon, Shankaracharya, was actually caught, beaten up, and his bones were thrown into the Ganges, into the sea, I think. Sea or Ganges, one of those two, I have to clarify. And it's from that comes the word shank, because shank that we used, when the arti starts, we blow that shank, we blow it, conch shell. So that's where the conch shells actually originate from the bones of Shankaracharya. So this was just a small pastime that took place. Okay. There are so many other pastimes. When we come back tomorrow, there'll be another pastime, the Lord Krishna, and the day after, up until Monday, which is the last day of Kartik. So throughout the whole month of Kartik, we've been reading different pastimes of Lord Krishna and Balaram, and what they get up to. So we come to a point now, we're thinking, okay, we heard the Leela, we heard the pastimes of Krishna. Are there any learning points that we need to know from here? In fact, there are a few learning points. Like, when you go to any place like Nand Maharaj went to to do celebrate Shivratri. They went to a place of pilgrimage. And what do you do when you get to a place of pilgrimage? You should always do some kind of charity. Any charity is auspicious. Now sometimes it's difficult for us to do charity, but here at the temple, in the manor here, we have Brahmanas on the altar who are performing deity service. That's all they're doing. They're doing many other services here as well. So this is an ideal place where if you want to do charity work, you can do charity work. If you want to donate charity, you can donate charity. The brahmacharis are here. They don't want nothing. They just want to go out and preach to people. So whatever you give them, they will use that charity in the service of preaching. Then you've got the Goshala, if you like cows. So that's another charity you can give for the Goshala. And then you have altar service where we do 5 aartis a day. All these beautiful preps are made. Whatever you can bring, you can give that as charity. It's all counted as charity. And then there's book distribution. If you like to donate books or distribute books, they have that facility. So this is all the way different ways that you can do charity. It's not like, you want to be up front, but you could do it very discreetly as well. And so the next point that comes along here is like, Vidyadhara was so much about his opulence, about his status, about his beauty. But don't forget, material opulence, it can change at any time. Like Srila Prabhupada says, money is chanchala. It comes and goes. It doesn't stay with one place. Like you have a house today, it belonged to someone 50 years ago. It probably belonged to someone 150 years ago. Nothing stays with you because it's constantly changing. That's one aspect. When you have too much material opulence, we have too much money, what do? You become fearful. You become scared. You fit an alarm to your house. You have bodyguards with you. You're worried about yourself. So you always constantly looking for help. If you have beauty, what happens when you have beauty? Again, it's short-lived. How many of you guys, what's that Miss World program? There's what they have is called a Miss World, yeah? So they have it almost every other year. So this year you have a beauty pageant, someone's crowned as Miss World. Next year it'll be someone else, and the year after it'll be someone else. So even that is short-lived. Beauty is what you see from within. Kṛṣṇa is residing within everyone, and everyone needs to be loved, and that's what Kṛṣṇa says. Don't be too much concerned of your beauty. Curses can also become benedictions. How? Look how Kṛṣṇa delivered all these asuras, right? On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all those soldiers didn't want to fight, but they had to fight. But they fought in the presence of Kṛṣṇa, and they all delivered. Okay. So we have all these calamities that come through us, like Vidyadhara said. What did Queen Kunti say? I wish all these calamities could happen again and again, so I can see Lord Kṛṣṇa again and again, which means you no longer have to take these births, repeated births and deaths. So now what's the best way that we do? Nand Maharaj and Kṛṣṇa, they went to see Lord Shiva. Why? Because he's one of the most demigods. I think I'll have to end it there. Aarti is going to start. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So please be seated. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. We'll be doing Damodarashtakam. Very auspicious day. Obviously, they are the last few days of Kartik, called Bhisham Panchak. So very nice that you're able to offer candle to Lord Krishna. So let's just try and remember and get engrossed in the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Namamishwaram Sachit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajmanam. You can do this? You do it? Can you do this? You do it. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajmanam. Yashodabhiyo lokaladhavamanam paramishtamadhyantapto druptagopyam. Yashodabhiyo lokaladhavamanam paramishtam atyantato druptagopyam. Can you do? Rudam tamuhur netram yugmam richantam karam bhoja yukmena satanka netram. Rudam tamuhur netram yudhvam rijantam karam bhoja yugmena satanka netram. Shwasikam re ankakanta sitagrevam damodaram bhaktibadam. Muhushwasikam re kankakanta Sitagrevam damodaram bhaktibadam. Iti drikswalilabhirananda kunde Swaghosham nimajantam akyapayantam. Iti drikswalilabhirananda kunde Swaghosham nimajantam akyapayantam. Twadiyesitagnesu bhakte chitatvam पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सत्तावृत्ति वन्दे स्वादीयसिताग्नेषु भक्तिर्जिता त्वं पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सत्तावृत्ति वन्दे वरं देव मोक्षं वा वा न चान्यं वृणे अहं वर्षेदपीहा वरं देव मोक्षं वा न चान्यं वृणे अहं वर्षेदपीहाम् हेदं ते वपुर्नाथा गोपाल बालम् सदा मे मनसे अविरस्तं किमन्ये इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपाल बालम् सदा मे मनसे अविरस्तं किमन्ये इदं ते मुखं भोजम् अत्यन्तनीले वृत्तकुन्तले स्निग्धरक्तच्च गोप्याम् इदं ते मुखं भोजम् अत्यन्तनीले वृत्तकुन्तले स्निग्धरक्तच्च गोप्याम् मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बारक्ताधरं मे मनसे अविरस्तामलं लक्ष्यलाभे रक्ताधरं मनसे अविरस्ताम् आलं लक्ष्य नमो देव दामोदरानन्त विष्णु प्रसीदा प्रभु दुःख जलाब्धिमग्नाम् नमो देव दामोदरानन्त विष्णु प्रसीदा प्रभु दुःख जलाब्धिमग्नाम् दृष्टिवृष्ट्याति दीनां भतानु ग्रहणेश मामाज्ञां हृदयक्षि दृश्ये कृपा दृष्टिवृष्ट्याति दीनां भतानु ग्रहणेश मामाज्ञां हृदयक्षि दृश्ये
जौबाद्वत् मृत्वेव यात्वा त्वयामुचितौ भक्ति भजौ कृतौ च कुबेरामजौबाद्वत् मृत्वेव यात्वा त्वयामुचितौ भक्ति भजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वाकामे प्रिया च न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेस्तु दामोदरे तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वाकामे प्रिया च न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेस्तु दामोदरे नमस्तेस्तु दाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयादरायाथा विश्वासधाम्ने नमस्तेस्तु दाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयादरायाथा विश्वासधाम्ने नमो राधिकाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तोभ्याम् नमो राधिकाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तोभ्याम् देवाय तोभ्याम् नमो राधिकाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तोभ्याम् Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.